Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm working on a Pikachu print, and what you see me doing at the beginning here is just making some thumbnails, trying to decide what I want for a composition, and I quickly figured it out. And then I was doing a practice Pikachu using some reference because I wanted to draw him in a very specific style. I like the style that you see on a lot of recent merchandise from the last couple years where Pikachu has this super oval shaped head. It's really, really round. And if you look at my reference on the side, you can see how the shape has changed over time. I mean, Pikachu still has his original shape, but I mean, when he's drawn really cartoony on merchandise and things, they make his head even rounder, and that's what I wanted. So you can see the differences between the reference and what I'm drawing. So this is specifically designed to be a print for selling at conventions. I do have it in my online store as well. I normally don't put fan art in my online store. I think I just have Bee and Puppy Cat and then this one, just because I kind of want to be known for my original art. I don't really want to be known for my fan art, so that's why I don't really put much fan art in my online shop. But I figured I really liked this one, so I decided to throw it up in there. Plus, I'm just such a huge Pokemon fan that, I don't know, I just can't resist my cute Pikachu. So yeah, I'll be at San Japan, which is in San Antonio, Texas. My first time doing a convention out of country where I'm at the Artist Alley table and like I'm involved as a guest and everything, so that's pretty exciting. So that will be at the beginning of September. Just more about the concept behind the piece. Initially, I was considering doing a picture with just one Pikachu in it, and it was going to be done with Copic markers, and it was going to be yellow and orangey, or yellow and pink, kind of like I was going to do with my Crayola picture, although I kind of used more colors, but I was going to try to stick to really just two colors plus white for this and have it all soft. There would be lots of flowers. Pikachu might have a floral crown or something like that, but I kind of turned away from that, and I might do a Pokemon in that style in the future, but I decided I wanted to do it digitally just because digital art looks so good as a print. And I just thought of all the cosplay Pikachu outfits. They have so many plushies available in different outfits. Plus in the games, there's cosplay Pikachu with various outfits. So I took a couple outfits from the game and a lot of outfits from the dolls and decided to just do a collage of different Pikachus with the main Pikachu in the center without any outfit on him. You might be wondering why I'm doing this in grayscale. It's just because it helps me see the values better when I'm shading. Although I've never really done a piece this way before. I've played around with it a little bit, but this was the major experiment, I guess. And initially I didn't know if I wanted line art either. I was going to go for a really painterly style. But I sort of changed my mind. I decided to put outlines, but I was going to color them so they weren't black. And I changed my mind at the very end. I kind of started to color them in and I thought, you know what, it just looks better as just black. Now that I've colored it, I just think the black really helps it pop and makes it look more cartoony. So that's why I decided just keep the black outlines in the end. And the reason I'm coloring them in yellow first and then converting it to grayscale is just so that I get the proper shade of yellow once I do start to add color on top of the gray. I wanted that main yellow to be a very specific yellow. So that's why I color them in yellow, convert it to grayscale, and then line them and then color them. It was a bit weird. I could have lined it before doing the gray shading, but I just wasn't sure what I wanted at the time, and so that's why it feels a little bit out of order. Oh, I forgot to mention program and stuff at the beginning. I'm using Photoshop CC and my Cintiq 22 HD tablet for this. If you've seen some of my older digital stuff, you might know that I have an extension for Photoshop called Lazy Nezumi Pro. It's a line stabilizer, but I didn't use it in this drawing because I kind of forgot about it at first, and then I did remember it, but just for the sake of being consistent throughout the piece, I decided to not start using it. So there's no line stabilization. It's just kind of a combination of, one, Cintiq I feel gets me smoother lines than other tablets, and two, just, I guess, going slow, and some lines were drawn several times until I could get it correct. So if you're wondering about smooth lines, it's just draw it, erase it, draw it, erase it, try again. Especially with the roundness of Pikachu's head, I would kind of do about a quarter of his head in one swoop, and then I would rotate the canvas because I can only do smooth curves in one direction. I have to be swiping down and preferably going from left to right. So I would rotate the canvas whenever I'm trying to do really smooth curves. This was done on a live stream, which is why you see a webcam of me in the corner. Most of my Friday videos get filmed on live stream days, which is on Tuesdays. Those are when I do my art streams. So if you want to join the live streams, it's every Tuesday. And I usually will make a YouTube video announcing the art live streams, but I don't make announcements for my Friday videos usually. Those are just the gaming streams. But for the art ones, I try to make announcements once I've actually gotten into the art a little bit and it's past the initial sketching stage, just because sometimes it takes me a while to nail down what exactly I'm doing. So yeah, but that's on my Twitch channel, which is always linked below in the video description. Twitch is just a much better live streaming platform than YouTube. I like it so much better, so that's why I do my streams on Twitch. I guess I'll talk a little bit about how I was doing the blending in this. So what I do is I just take the standard brush that comes in Photoshop and I put the softness all the way down to 0. Well, I guess it's the hardness technically, but I make it as soft of a brush as it'll go. And then I reduce the opacity to be anywhere between 18 to 24-ish. It's kind of a little finicky slider, so I just slide it to anywhere in that range. And that way it does a very faint line, and the more you go over that same line, the darker it'll get without switching your colors. And then I use the color picker. I press the Alt key, brings up that dropper. And so let's say I have a dark area and a light area and I want to blend the two. I'll try to grab the color that's right in between them where it starts to fade a little bit because the brush is soft, and then I'll use that to blend it out. And when in doubt, I usually grab the color that's a bit on the darker side and use that to blend it out because, like I mentioned, the opacity is lowered. So if you grab a certain color and then you go to draw, it's going to be much lighter than the color you actually just grabbed because the opacity is down to 20%. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I might make a tutorial about it someday. So let me know if you want a tutorial on how I blend in Photoshop and I can do that for you. I don't do a ton of digital work, so I'm not like a pro or anything, which is why I don't normally do those kinds of tutorials. But yeah, let me know if you do want to see that. By the time I got to the last Pikachu, I was getting so sick of shading the same thing over and over again. And I didn't want to take shortcuts because, as you probably noticed, when I did the sketch, I copied and pasted the head over and over again and then just kind of tweaked it as I went. I didn't want to wait till after I shaded it to do that because I didn't want them to look too uniform. Plus, all their ears and limbs are in different directions, so it wouldn't make sense to do it that way. So now I'm adding color. And what I did was I started a new layer and I clipped it to the layer below so that it only colors on the Pikachus and not on the background. You do that by pressing the Alt key and then clicking on the line between two layers and it will clip the upper one to the lower one. So yeah, I set the layer to overlay, and so when I colored with just yellow, it laid down yellow but left the shadows intact. And same thing with all the other colors. They're all on that same layer. And all I had to do is just fill in the color and the shadows would be there. It's kind of plain looking shadow. I didn't really add too much color to it. I did go in and add a bit of orange to the shading on the yellow areas just because I felt that it was too gray looking and almost green looking. So that's why I went over with orange to try to add a bit of saturation to the shadows on those Pikachus. But I didn't do any fancy shading on the rest of it. Like I mentioned, I was initially thinking of going for more painterly style, and I decided to just keep it simple and bright and bold so that it keeps that really cartoony feel and so that there's a lot of contrast. So that's why I did it like that. And then at this point, I was just isolating the line art so that I could save it off as just the line art without any color, because initially each character's line art was on its own layer. So then I merged them all together, that kind of thing, and decided to keep the background white to make it pop. These weird flashy colors are just me playing with different overlays. What I actually did at the very end was I adjusted the levels so that the shading wasn't so dark on the Pikachus. I also made a new layer and put pink on it and then set that layer to soft light and it added just this slight pink cast to the entire picture. You can especially notice it if you look at their ear tips and tails where I had a really dark gray. It looks like a more warm gray now, almost purpley. So I think that helped a lot with the color. So those final tweaks really made a big difference. This is what it now looks like. Again, there are prints in my shop if you're interested. Just prints though, it didn't really fit nicely on any other merch like square things like pillowcases and tote bags, and it wasn't tall enough to do a phone case, so just prints. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.